Hey everybody, welcome to another video. I'm Rich Wilson, founder and filmmaker at Vibe Media, where we help your brand build to an influencer level online presence using filmmaking tools and tips to tell your story. In this episode of Vibe Check, we are talking about our least favorite movies. Yes, that's right, the movies that we absolutely hated watching, the movies that we definitely regret watching because we all have them. But we talk about some of our, well, I guess not favorites, some of our least favorites in this episode. So, sit back, relax, and let's get on with the episode! Hey everybody, welcome to Vibe Check, the show for filmmakers and film enthusiasts. I'm Rich Wilson. We've got Dana and Forrest. We are talking about some of our favorite movies and also filmmaking in general. And today we are talking about, well,
Our not favorite movies
today. So we're going to go a little different today. So movies that we regret watching or we've been forced to watch, and afterwards we're like, the whole facepalm thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So who wants to start?
I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
There's two that I had specifically in mind. I know one of them I think me and you have shared our feelings on, but I'll hold that one off for a second. One of the first ones that I remember watching that I just had a what did I just watch moment was Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John. I don't know, have you guys seen Xanadu?
Mm-mm.
I have not, because of probably this reason.
So it's essentially Olivia Newton-John. She plays a daughter of one of the Greek gods that comes down on roller skates because it's the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
Makes sense.
As one does.
And the guy falls in love with her and follows her around town.
As they do when Greek gods come down from Mount Olympus, you know. Of course.
And she like glows and there's neon things and like halfway through the movie there's this like cartoon animation like acid trip that happens. I feel like I was on drugs watching it. I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I honestly couldn't even tell you the plot. After watching the whole movie, I was just like, I don't know if they actually fell in love or what happened, but it was such a weird movie. I was just like, oh my God. If you ever watch Xanadu, don't, first of all. I'll just say don't watch it if you don't have to. But those of you who watched it, you'll know what I'm talking about here.
You know what? In that same kind of like mindset, I would have to say Speed Racer. Because I love
Speed Racer.
No, not the cartoon Speed Racer. The live action Speed Racer movie.
Okay.
I love Speed Racer. Grew up watching it when I lived in Texas when I was a wee lad. You know, right? But watching the movie, you're like,
doesn't do it justice.
Wait, what? You know, I love the cast. Well, at least most of the cast that's in it and all that. They're really great, but it sucked. Especially like the last little bit of the movie with the race, and again, it was very psychedelic, and you just didn't know what the heck was going on. And then he wins, and yay! And you're just like,
Did I just take acid?
Right?
I think that's a common theme in all these movies,
Yeah.
where you feel like you're on drugs or you're having a mental breakdown,
Right.
and that's
Or
the reason why you're like,
or it just didn't make any sense whatsoever, and you're like, huh?
You have a real big Tim Allen moment.
Yeah.
For me, I've mentioned this before, and I'll say it again because I will die on this hill. Spike Lee's reinterpretation of Old Boy broke my heart because the original one, amazing, hands down, like one of the best movies ever made. Mm-hmm. And then he just comes in and he whitewashes it and he makes it really weird, and he like kind of he follows the same plot but then makes it his own, but then it doesn't make sense and it's not like as like good.
You're describing almost every Spike Lee movie, though. You know, like he takes original material,
well,
he tries to take it, put it his own, and it just always crumbles apart.
That I mean, his one movie, Do the Right Thing. I love that movie. That movie's great, but that's because it's like almost an original by him.
Yeah.
So I mean, that one for me is that's my top least favorite movie ever.
I haven't seen the original, so I guess what's different about it that made it...
The visuals, the fight scenes, a lot of the cinematography, even like the color grading is very different. Like there's one scene where in the original, I don't really want to give away too much. I guess technically the dad, because that's his whole purpose is he's trying to find his daughter. he is fighting through like this underground tunnel thing, and the way they shoot it is they shoot it from like a side point of view, and you just see him go through this tunnel and just pummel all of these people down in one shot. And it's just insane, and it's so beautiful. And then you see Spike Lee's reinterpretation of that. And I say reinterpretation because that's what he says the movie is. It's not a remake. It's not a reboot or whatever. It's his reinterpretation. It's garbage. It's not nearly as good. And then there's like, in the beginning, the dad is supposed to be locked away in prison for like 10 or like 14 years or something like that. And in Spike Lee's movie, he's just locked in like this motel room where he just has like this weird relationship with a pillow and like gets super weird about like workout videos and stuff. And that's not at all, like, he makes it really goofy and silly and takes away like the seriousness of it. And like, that's like the main plot, like driving point. Like that's the whole purpose of why he is what he is and what he's doing.
Right.
So it's just kind of like when you ruin that, it's like, what's the whole point?
Yeah. Well, and for you, for the Speed Racer, is there a specific reason? Is it just too cartoonish, or what is the?
Well, I get the reason why it was too cartoonish because, well,
it was a cartoon.
It was a Japanese cartoon.
Yeah.
You know, it was early, like, you know, it was like a 70s, 80s cartoon. You know, right? It just kind of hit on that a little too hard. Okay. In some of the sequences. The acting is just terrible in it. You know, sorry, John Goodman. Like, he's a great actor in other roles, but this one he was just, bleh, you know. And yeah, it just seemed a little too cartoony. They try to push the like the eyes popping out of the head kind of thing. You know, it's like okay, it just seemed not believable. I think that they could have done something a little bit better with the material to make it it should definitely be a fun kids movie, but it could have been not like something that only a 3-year-old would like. Yeah. But then once you're 5, you're like, yeah, this is kind of meh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of the ones that I've always regretted watching is not necessarily for the remakes, because sometimes you go into those knowing that they're going to be remakes or they're going to be different, but the ones that are just originals that are just lacking in any content whatsoever. Or,
right.
I'm gonna now jump to one of our favorites that we had talked about before is Uncut Gems, the recent Adam Sandler.
Such potential.
Should you say one of your favorites to diss?
Yes, yeah. that's one of our favorites to talk about in this topic specifically is just how.
It's so anxiety-inducing for no reason.
3 hours, first off. It's
for such
movie.
Little payoff.
Wow.
For a movie that could have been probably 20 minutes. Could have been a short film.
Or honestly, just a limited Netflix series.
Yeah. With anxiety attacks for 3 hours because you're in a room with 7 conversations at once all the time.
I feel like I'm at family Christmas dinner just...
See, this is the whole reason why I haven't watched it, is because what you guys keep
And they
saying.
introduce characters and things that literally they never talk about. They never go into like what happened to the rapper who like stole the jet, all these things that happen, like nothing happened.
And then like the females are only in there to be like the sexual like drive for the movie, and it's like they're not really there to be anything other than like ogled at, and it's just kind of like, I don't want to look at Adam Sandler. Like, sorry.
The whole plot literally could have been a 20-minute
honestly.
Film, that's all it was. It was him
like
getting the stone,
so okay,
losing it,
wait.
Then, yeah.
Let me take that back. I love the soundtrack. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sounds so cool. Cinematography, great. Like the Safdie brothers, or however you say it, great job. They kill it almost every time with every movie. But this one, the dialogue, the acting, the plot just wasn't there enough to make it.
And it's
just
weird
like,
because I love Adam Sandler. I love Adam Sandler movies. Typically, they're really good and the right amount of goofy and everything. But it's like this one was just so. I think he was trying to be too serious. Fell too hard on the neurotic Jew trope that he was going for, because that's essentially what his character was. Is just a neurotic Jewish man.
See, I thought it was just kind of sad. I haven't seen the movie, but. Like the trailer looked amazing. Like this is like, wow, this looks. It had the potential to be
Because it was
amazing.
less than 20 minutes.
Well, like there's some scenes that I really like towards the
Yeah.
end when they're trapped in the jewelry shop with like all the mobsters and they're like waiting to see what the final score is going to be. Like that was really cool because that was actually like intense and nobody was yelling and it was like actually quiet.
You mean the parts that could have been put in the 20-minute version of this movie?
Yes. No, I understand. And like the whole thing with like The Weeknd, honestly, that was like something also that could have been completely dropped. Like that was unnecessary.
They
Like I
literally
said,
never
once
touched
again, it was only to like create this like, oh, she's just here for like sexual desire, and that's all that scene was. And it's like, I get it. He wants to
your
bang
point?
this
No,
lady.
kidding.
I understand.
That's why I said the whole movie is just so like they could cut out all these extra characters that they introduced for no reason. They can literally just make this whole movie into a 20-minute short film, and it would still have the same impact that it did watching it over 3 hours. Like when you have something like that that's just so drastically like it could be shortened that much, you're like, why? That's horrible.
And honestly, it doesn't even have to be 20 minutes. It could honestly just be an hour and a half. Like, there is so much unnecessary stuff. Like, when they're, like, at dinner constantly with his family and he's just constantly having these long, the same conversations about the same thing. It's like, I get it. You're in debt. Your marriage is falling apart. You need money. Like, I understand.
bringing
You're
it up,
saying this,
yeah.
like, this is the 5th time you're telling me this.
Right.
You keep, like, almost digging yourself out of the hole only to just drop back down even further. Like, and I get it if that was, like, what they were going for, but maybe make the dialogue a little bit less hectic and a little bit more intriguing to want to try and listen to.
Like
Yes.
the movie itself, I think that's in general the theme is like a lot of movies that come across as disappointing are just the ones that are you're not left satisfied. You're like, what was the point of this? Like it could look beautiful, cinematography could be great. I mean, I just watched Promising Young Woman, the new movie that came out, and
Love
it's
that movie.
a great cinematography is great, story is pretty great and all, but then it just leaves you like, really,
No.
that's the ending?
Okay, we gotta talk
Let's-
about that because I love the ending because it's so real.
Yeah, it is real, but I mean, it's just so I don't know. It goes against all the classics of like how you'd want a movie to end. Again, your normal ending.
But that's what
yeah.
off topic. That's what the director kind of wanted to go for in an interview she spoke about because I mean, it's by a female director, and she's like, I didn't want to do something stereotypical that you'd see in these films. I wanted to do something that like actually punches you in the gut, and it's like real and raw. And that's a reason why a lot of people don't like that movie either, is because of the ending. But
I mean,
thought
it
was
was
great.
better than Jennifer's Body. It was another one of those movies
Oh
that I
my
got
God.
free passes
What?
to go see.
Yeah.
I was just bringing up because a female director. It was an awkward transition
Yeah.
to how to do that.
Yeah.
But Jennifer's Body, I ended up getting free tickets to that too. Thank God they were free tickets because I am glad I didn't pay for
Well, you
that.
know that
Man.
movie was only revolved around.
it was
my
only
God.
4 chicks. That movie was
I
4
had-
chicks.
I didn't know. I had free passes to see it before trailers were really out for it and all that stuff.
right.
So I went and I was like,
Well, you wanted to go see it because
God.
Megan Fox is in it.
Well, yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
only reason why we guys.
she
would
does
want
look
to-
good. So,
yeah,
but
so.
definitely wasn't one of those. I've never watched it again. Obviously, because
You know what?
It's something that I think could also be remade, but no, just based on the storyline, not like the dialogue and everything. I really
Yeah,
like the story, like virgin sacrifice. She ends up
Okay.
coming back as a suck you bitch, and she's end up like killing all these guys, and like that was a really cool plot. But some of like the dialogue was such like cheesy
and,
like one-liners, and it's like, oh my god.
She's stabbed with
yeah.
a tampon and bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I do like when she's like, I go both ways. Like that was like that was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
You got me
No.
there.
It's just like no.
It's just movies like that. Sometimes you're just like,
Well,
They're
even-
hit or miss depending on how I don't want to say nostalgic, but I guess how much you like the actors in it and if you can kind of look past some of the other things, much like with Bone Collector, if you could look past all the plot holes and just be like Angelina Jolie, Denzel Washington, Queen Latifah. It's like, but it's not a good movie
Well,
at the heart of it.
and there's differences between ones that I guess you regret watching versus that just aren't satisfying.
Yeah.
Too. Like, and that's I don't know where would you guys say that line is as far as
Well, I think if it's
like I wasted my time.
I
on this
wouldn't say
movie
I regret
versus-
watching Uncut Gems because I feel like just as someone who didn't go to film school, I took a lot out of it, like a lot of the cinematography from it, a lot of like I loved the soundtrack. I like how they really incorporated it into like a lot of their scenes. definitely taught me a lot of like don'ts. Also, don't have like 6 people yelling at each other on camera.
I think that line is pretty clear for me. Like there's some movies where I go, the ending kind of just like meh, but I still enjoyed the movie. But then there are other movies like that was a complete waste of time. Like why did I?
But
come
what
and watch
makes
this?
that the difference? Like what's the thing that
Nothing.
That you think,
when the
works.
payoff is absolutely nothing.
Right.
Okay.
Versus where it's
Versus
like
where it's
just
not what you
it's a
expected.
disappointing payoff, and it's like at least it's something, kind of like with A Promising Young Woman for you. It's like, okay, like
That's
I
good.
get it,
It's like,
I
it was
didn't
a great
regret
movie,
watching
but
it.
yeah.
It was just one of those.
You know,
like,
it's just-
the ending was like, okay, could have been
which
better.
I can see that. I definitely understand that completely, but
Whereas like some of those like dumb parody movies, which are hilarious, but like Vampire
can
Sucks.
literally
I
only watch
remember going
once.
seeing Vampire Sucks with my wife and my sister-in-law at the time, and I literally walked out of that theater thinking I just wasted.
They started off good with like date movie or epic
Yeah,
movie. Like
that
those
one
were kind
was
of fun.
Scary
and then
Movie.
they-
That one was
Scary
just-
Movie was obviously the
Right.
only
Like
one.
those are enjoyable, but like Vampire Sucks. Well, it sucked. Like I totally like that one. I can say I totally wasted my time watching.
What was
right?
that animated gecko movie that Johnny Depp was in?
Oh,
That
Rango. That is another one that
it's
I
a
regret
big
watching. It was
regret.
just
I
like,
literally
man.
walked out of. That's the only time I ever walked out of a movie theater.
See,
and it was
I've never
during
walked
that.
out of a movie theater, but
It was just bad.
yeah, that was
I didn't watch it, so
Good.
Don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
yeah. It's just me.
Yeah.
Maybe watch it if you feel like just really hating yourself after,
Yeah.
but otherwise don't do it.
Don't pay for it at
Yeah.
least.
Don't- yeah.
Well, I'm honestly like, there's so many movies out there. We could go on and on. Like I'm a dad. There's a lot of movies I regret watching.
We are not going to slander the Barbie princess movies right now. I'm sorry, we're not.
You could enjoy them, but as a dad watching them,
You
17
regret it?
hours
Oh,
a
okay.
day.
Well, watching them on repeat is different versus watching them like maybe
He
a few
regrets
times.
buying them for
You
the
regret
kids to watch.
it's buyer's remorse versus regretting watching it once.
Yeah. So it's like there's tons of little movies and videos out there that I regret watching, like the the knockoff Pocahontas movies, kind
Yeah.
of thing, right?
Wonder
Yeah, but
Woman
those
2.
Those are just
Wonder
again,
Woman 2.
yeah.
I regret watching that,
Yeah.
honestly, because look, they delayed it back in 2019. There is no COVID excuse to like why it sucked. Like they had almost a year and a half to make it better, and
Yeah, it just
They
it,
didn't.
It was just a
For
disappointment.
me, it branches on that because I like superhero movies. I think there
Me
were
too.
portions that were filmed really well in that, so I don't necessarily regret watching it, but it definitely didn't have the payoff at all. That's
yeah,
something that the
reg-
payoff is this much, and you're like, but that's DC. I think lately they've been doing that with all of their movies. Justice League was kind of the best, I think, in the DC series.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, I was like, because after Batman versus Superman, of like, your mom's named Martha, my mom's named Martha.
Best
Not
friends.
kill each other.
We should be friends now.
Yeah, you're like, really? That's how this is gonna end? Like, there's so much more that these characters have.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I have to say that one of the movies that we even discussed on this show is I definitely regret watching Mandy. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
It's okay.
afterwards I was like, what? Like I appreciate like you said, even with
I told you guys I was gonna
appreciate
show you something weird.
The colors, I appreciated the cinematography, but that's about all I appreciate.
Oh, you just wait until the next Nicolas Cage movie I suggest.
National Treasure, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
Ghost Rider.
yeah.
Ghost Rider.
Ooh, I regret that one.
See, I liked the first one. The second one was just, it just.
Ooh, Face Off. Well,
There's some good. Yeah,
the memes that
I
came
know,
out of that
yes.
movie.
It's kind of funny that we've now transitioned to just Nicolas Cage movies now. Raising Arizona, right? I love that movie.
That's a good
It's a
movie,
good
yeah.
one.
He's actually had some pretty good recent ones. Like Color Out of Space is surprisingly really well.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. But that's voice acting.
Sometimes that's all you can handle with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, true.
But
is definitely that
we
fine
should
line,
get
though.
him
Yeah.
to play the Spider-Man noir in the new Spider-Man game, or not game, but the new movie.
Is he
because-
not?
I'm talking about the live-action one.
Oh.
I'm talking about the live-action. So because the rumor is for the Spider-Man movie, they just announced it was like Way From Home or something like it.
Well, there's different
Away
titles
Home or
or
something.
something. They did like
Well,
3 or 4 different titles.
They did 3 or 4 different
yeah.
fake titles.
They did 2
and then
fake ones, and then Marvel released the actual one.
Yeah. So, and it's believed that it's supposed to deal with the multiverse kind of thing. So we may, like, the rumor is Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to come back.
Rumors, they already signed on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's, I guess, going back to, obviously the topic at hand here, where there's a difference between that fine line of, like, when there's no payoff. Definitely, I would say that it's not worth it. It's those are the ones you regret when you're like, why did I even bother?
Also, if like nothing really worked, like if you walk away from it and you just didn't get really anything out of it, it's just like, I just like really wasted my time.
There goes 2 hours.
Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah, it's tricky though. There's a lot. I mean, tell us what you guys have. Any movies that you guys regret watching.
Please
put them in the comments.
We could go on and on and on for probably 2 hours. Oh yeah, this one I hated. Oh, this one. Oh, this one. But we'll probably take a pin in it for here. Maybe we'll address it at another point. But let us know in the comments below what your movie that you regretted, and maybe we'll go watch it and regret it with you.
Probably not.
Don't volunteer me for things.
You have been voluntold that you're going to be watching some regretful movies.
Yeah.
I'm an Aquarius. You can't tell me anything.
Love it.
Oh man.
Okay.
Such good times. Thank you so much. And until then, keep vibing.
Bye, guys.
Hey, I hope you liked that episode of us talking about, the movies that we didn't like, and I hope that you probably agreed with some of our picks, that they were horrible movies. If you liked that video, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel for more content and episodes coming out every single Friday. Also, let us know in the comments below some of your least favorite movies and some of the movies that you definitely regret watching, and maybe we'll hit a big old thumbs up on it too, because we most likely have seen it and agree with you that why did we watch that? Well, that's it for this video, and until then, keep creating, build your brand, and go out there and tell your story.